Good morning. This is the Great Basin Smoke Dispersion Briefing for Monday, December 16th. Precipitation of the past 7 days, we've actually been wetter across the northern half of the Great Basin from northern Nevada. Much of the higher terrain of northern Utah got quite wet, especially near the Idaho border and also including western Wyoming and lots of the higher terrain of Idaho. In terms of percent of normal, you can see the drier than normal signals for southern areas this past week. Strong, wetter than normal signal across northern Nevada, southern Idaho, and the higher terrain of Utah. Lots of snowfall in the past 3 days here on the left. Areas in the yellow to red indicate anywhere from about 8 to 18 inches of snow with locally higher amounts. On the right-hand side, snow cover. You can see that deep snow cover across the higher terrain of Utah all the way from south to north. Quite deep across western Wyoming, anywhere from 40 to 75 inches, and a couple of feet in the higher terrain of Idaho. And this light shade of white indicates even on the valley floors here across the northern two-thirds of Nevada, there's at least a couple of inches of snow cover down towards 4,000 feet or so, and higher amounts, of course, in the higher terrain of Nevada. So about 3/4 of the Great Basin has some sort of snow cover on the ground, again, probably making it more conducive to pile burning than anything in terms of heavier fuels or forest material. The latest satellite imagery shows a storm system that gave us snow the past 72 hours now departing into Colorado in the country's midsection, weakening. Stronger storm well offshore, but in the meantime, high pressure building in across the west coast. It'll bring drying and some warming, and also a better chance of inversions from west to east as we go the next couple of days. So that should mean a decrease in dispersion, but still a good northwesterly flow today with these tight packing of these height lines indicates at least one more day of pretty good wind flow and dispersion. 1,000-hour fuels quite moist, 16% or higher, or even above 20% in the dark green. And here's the map for later this afternoon on the left. Dryness coming in the atmosphere as high pressure builds in. Best dispersion in the areas in white, southern and eastern areas. A bit of a decrease across western areas, but still not too bad. Transport winds here on the left, fairly light across Nevada, picking up across southern Nevada, much of southern central Utah, lighter elsewhere. Vertical mixing, several thousand feet vertically continuing across areas where you see the yellow to the orange, worse a bit further north. Now on Tuesday, that high pressure ridge builds over the Great Basin. You notice not that much in the way of white on the dispersion map here on the right, so the air quality takes a decrease, especially areas in the purple where probably burning will not meet dispersion prescriptions. Light winds here across Utah starting to pick up ahead of that trough out of the south across parts of Nevada and into the Snake River Plain of Idaho. Vertical mixing on the right-hand side, pretty poor in many areas except for far southern areas, it seems. That high pressure ridge starts to break down on Wednesday as the trough low pressure moves in. It does weaken, but brings some clouds in. Dispersion still overall pretty poor, and actually that cloud cover could prevent winds from mixing to the surface. See a lot of that purple area through here in the valleys, meaning the inversions will hold. You do start to see higher terrain areas in Utah and Nevada responding to the trough low pressure in the winds. Vertical mixing on the right-hand side, again, best in southern areas, worse in the north, especially across northern Utah. Clearing index across Utah indicates the best dispersion areas in the green, yellow, and orange and red. Further to the east and south you go today, and pretty much decreasing everywhere over the next 2 days. Precipitation over the next 3 days confined mainly to western areas of Idaho with the trough of low pressure. It dries out further south. Now on Thursday there is moisture coming in with that storm system, much of it into Idaho and maybe far northern areas of Nevada and Utah. Dispersion areas on the right. On Friday, there is another ridge of high pressure building in with some dryness coming in, but it's a progressive pattern. So it was a storm system lurking just 2 or 3 days away. We see that storm gathering strength, initially with dry air ahead of it on Saturday. You can see dispersion here on the right-hand side, worse as you head further to the north and east. And then on Sunday, as that dispersion gets really scoured out, a lot more white here on the map on the right-hand side, and that is because, if we shift back to the left, trough low pressure, but notice the moisture in the cloud cover lingers to the west. We have dryness, meaning more sunshine heating things up and causing more mixing as we go late into the weekend. No precipitation days 4 and 5. This is basically Thursday through Saturday, but probably precip returns early next week, just in time for Christmas. The 8 to 14 day outlook taking us from the 23rd of December through the 29th. Cooler than normal conditions expected for much of the Great Basin except for far southeastern areas. A wetter than normal period continues as well. Areas in the green to darker green indicate better chances of above normal precipitation during this time period. This concludes our briefing. Have a great day.